Good evening, Milton.
Good evening, Doctor. Still trying to save lives?
Goodbye, Milton.
Last thing our patients need. Now,
Surely I can endure. Shit!
Sir, no civilians allowed. I said go back home.
My dear sister, I don't know if I have the strength.
What do you want?
Ah!
Are you all right, miss?
I don't know. Who were those people? They wanted to kill me. Why?
They've lost their minds in the epidemic. They won't come back for now.
You seem to know a lot about them, sir.
I'm Dr. Jonathan Reed. I'm investigating this disease.
I am Xiaoxun. Thank you so much for helping me, Mr. Reed. I must go to the cemetery now. Goodbye.
Carnage. Is Father Whitaker's disciple among the bodies, I wonder? This man's far too old to be Samuel. No. By the look of his clothes, this man's a docker. Samuel isn't here. I had better follow the blood trail. As I feared, Samuel no longer preaches the good word. Since I can't reveal myself to my mother now, I must find a discreet spot to attend the ceremony.
I am the resurrection and the life. He that believeth in me, though he were dead, yet shall he live. And whosoever liveth and believeth in me shall never die. We commend unto thy hands of mercy, most merciful Father, the soul of our sister departed, and we commit her body to the ground. Earth to earth, ashes to ashes, dust to dust.
Why kill my Mary and stick her here in this cold, god-awful place?
These are the legal requirements for the epidemic, madam.
Avery, I feel so tired. Please take me home.
Yes, madam.
Oh, Mary. What have I done? If I could only change one thing. One thing. This is a nightmare.
Jonathan, there is nothing you can do but accept it.
What brings you here?
I thought you could use the company. I am so sorry for your loss, Jonathan.
She was a good person. Vibrant, full of life. She was kindness incarnate, my Mary.
You're a good person, Jonathan. And a young Ekon. A newborn cast into the night without so much as a candle to guide your way.
She had been scouring the most dangerous parts of London in search of me. And it led to her death.
Jonathan, don't.
I still hear her last thoughts. They echo in my head. Her mind shattered, and it haunts me.
Jonathan, stop. Listen carefully. You must come to terms with this. You must learn to live with what happened.
How is it possible? Tell me. Is it so easy to take a life every night, and then just smile and nod at those you spared?
Don't you see? You're doing the work of our enemies, feeding your remorse. We are weakest when we grieve, and the guilt blurs our senses.
And so this is why you're here. To warn me. You felt this pain yourself. You too have endured this.
I don't want to lose you, Jonathan. I've lost so many friends. Loved ones I cherished. Pray for Mary's forgiveness, if you must.
You may be right.
Of course. I've stared upon this world for centuries, and time has taught me to deal with guilt, if not erase it.
What should I do then?
St. Mary's Church is not far from here. Go there and make your peace. Find the solace you need.
My lady wants me to confess.
No, Jonathan. It's you who wants to confess, I think.
safer places to be than here.
Hello, sir. Sorry to disturb you at this hour. I'm a doctor inquiring about the epidemic. May I come in?
A doctor, you say? No, thank you.
All right. I shan't insist. Goodbye for now, sir.
And off to church he goes, a newborn seeking divine consent to lick the blood from the soft and pointy crown.
Who are you? Make yourself known!
Newborn, you reek of guilt and pointless compassion. Shed your skin, forget your old weaker self.
What do you want from me?
Ascalon does not approve of lone wolves who bring unwanted eyes to our pastures.
So your name is Ascalon?
Ascalon's will is vampire law. Learn them, abide by them, or I shall return as your judge and jury.
These immortals try my patience with their plans and unsolicited counsel.
Yes? What is it that you want?
I'm sorry to disturb you at such a late hour.
No worries, my son. I'm still quite awake, having just returned from a funeral.
Yes, I know. I've forgotten what I wanted. I don't know.
May I help you, child? You seem somewhat perturbed.
I haven't the strength to cross the threshold. I wish to pray, to cleanse my soul.
The church is shut by order of the bishop. But I'm still the vicar of St. Mary's, if that is any use to you, my son.
You seem to me a good soul, Vicar. But this is a personal matter.
There are no secrets from God, my son. If your heart needs comfort, consider me your chapel. For I can be as silent as stone.
I've words for one departed. They're not for living ears to hear.
Your eyes burn with rage, yet I see the pain that lies beyond. I am here to lighten the burden of all God's creatures. Whatever you tell me is between us and the Lord.
Very well, priest. As you seem quite adamant.
Open your heart, my son. Tell me what burdens you. With whom do you wish to speak?
She was my sister.
You seem so troubled by the loss of this girl. What happened to her?
She was murdered.
I see. And how are you feeling, my son?
She died because of me. How do you think I feel?
I have a final question for you, my son. This is of the utmost importance.
Ask your question, Vicar.
What words would you like to say to your poor sister?
I killed you. There's no excuse. My dear Mary, forgive me.
You have been heard, my son, and your burden will lighten if your words are sincere. Go in peace now, and live your life in the way she would have wanted.
There. I confessed to that vicar. Do I feel better? Only time will tell.
I don't know what. Like a secret or a plot I must reveal.
It's locked, all right.
You look so pale, my lord. Would you like me to revive you? Pay me a glass and I'll be gentle. Don't be shy, handsome. What can Christina do for you?
I'm not looking for what you're selling. But I'd like to ask you a few questions, if I may. I'm a doctor. Dr. Reed.
All right then, but be quick. Though I usually get paid when I open my mouth.
Clayton Darby claims he will expose the crisis in Whitechapel to all of London. Do you believe him?
I believe Clayton's courage will erode with time, until he finally leaves Whitechapel to start another fight somewhere else.
Are you talking from experience?
I've seen your type come here to get a good fuck in a cheap room or a dark alley before going back to their fancy houses in the West End.
Why this skepticism?
How can you speak about starvation if you've never been hungry? Or about poverty? Or anything else you have never suffered from?
Christina, have you been examined? The epidemic is spreading fast.
I don't like doctors or hospitals, but I don't like you asking questions.
You can put your own life in danger, that's your decision. But what about your clients? If you're contaminated, you will put them in danger too.
And you think that would worry me? If you knew the men I deal with, their health would not be what you'd worry about.
Considering your line of work, I assure you it is only a matter of time before you have health issues.
If it is going to happen, it will happen. Right now, I need money. That's what's important.
Tell me about yourself.
Are you joking with me? People don't usually come to see me for conversation.
I have no interest in your work. I am, however, curious as to what led you into this career.
Short story. The war, exile, and England. This country is not especially welcoming. I've been refused many jobs because of where I am from. I had few options left.
I always thought I was the master of my own fate. But now I know we don't always have control over our lives. I don't judge you.
You know, this money is not only for me. I have good reasons to need this money quickly, but it is not your concern, Doctor.
Goodbye, miss. Take care of yourself as best you can.
Be judged for your sins.
Good evening, Mr. Whitaker.
It's Father Whitaker, my son. So, are you still lost in your rational delusions?
I have found Samuel, your disciple. I am afraid I have bad news.
I already expected the worst. He should already have come back. He is dead, isn't he?
Yes, he is now. The epidemic took him.
Samuel steadily made donations to our cause. He would have rewarded you himself if you'd found me in that awful cemetery. Please accept this money.
Why did you send Samuel to the cemetery, Tobias? What did you see there?
I sent him on a vision. A dream of a dreadful and laughing queen covered with blood, sleeping with the dead and feeding on the fear of the dying.
A laughing queen dressed in blood. Tell me more.
This epidemic is her feast, the announcement of her return. Against her, science is no more than a child's toy.
But who is she?
She is the mother of harlots and abomination of the earth. She is Babylon, drunk on the blood of the saints.
Tobias Whitaker, confess why you burnt those people alive.
I have done what no one was ready to do. I will smite the flesh of the unclean to protect the righteous.
You are just another heartless murderer, exploiting the epidemic to kill with impunity.
No! No. The only way to contain the spread is to strike at the source itself. The proliferating sick.
You're not the savior of London. You're just a glorified sadist.
I take no pleasure in this awful cleansing, Dr. Reed. I am only driven by the thousands of innocents I save each night.
Why did you send...
I sent him on a...
You sent...
You again? What do you want this time?
Why do you keep on working for the gang, Joe? You know it doesn't suit you.
It's true, I hate this job. And I know I made some bad choices, but I'm a wet boot boy now. And people won't forget it.
You could leave tomorrow. Start another life in another town.
That's easy for you to say, Doctor. We are poor. My son's weak. And there's no way he'll endure another disappointment.
Harry doesn't seem happy living in Whitechapel. Why did you make him come here?
I've always put my son's interests above everything else, whatever he may think. Our house is small but affordable. The walls are thin, but the door is solid.
You really love your son, don't you, Mr. Peterson?
He's my pride and joy. Even if he hates me for the choices I make and pushes me buttons more than he should.
Since the criminal nature of your job means you could be arrested, are you not afraid of what would happen to your boy if you were?
No one will ever take my son away from me. If that ever occurred, I'd hunt the bastard down and rip off his head with my bare hands.
Do you have any regrets?
Only one. Not to have my beloved wife by my side. She died when Harry was little. My sweet Jane. She gave the boy confidence.
Goodbye, Mr. Peterson.
Joe, please, I don't have your money.
When science fails you, this elixir will give you faith again.
Over there! There's one of them vermin! Back, demon! Back! Weapons ready! We found one!
Remorse and pain are precious when binding you to the earth. I remember you. Fear be gone. I would harm no child of my making.
This is your doing. You made me this creature. What are you?
I champion.
You selected me, chose me.
As shall my children yet to come.
What is it you seek?
This age is sickly. An ancient poison, an older rage, brewed in a cauldron newly forged.
This has something to do with the epidemic.
Seek truth, my champion. Defeat the serpent of knowing with iron spur.
I've had enough of others making decisions for me, pretending to know how I should feel or behave. So the vampire who made me is some sort of disembodied entity? Or was he just projecting this vision in my mind? Maybe Edgar can help me with this one. It's locked, all right.
Traitor to us all. You're nothing but a warlord of thugs and thugs. God protect us. You've got a leech in the hospital.
Yes, my hospital. My mission is to heal while you go about warring.
You've set the table for a snake. I wonder why there's venom in your food.
I'm growing tired of your song. You're a woodsman, McCallum, not a doctor. Return to your hunt.
Remember, I've a good nose for machinations. I can flare the scent at a mile. You can't hide from the god.
Leave him, Jonathan. This is sacred ground. Neutral territory. And I just had the carpet cleaned. By the sacred stole, this is very bad news. Bad news indeed.
What happened?
The hospital has been attacked. We have injured patients, at least one dead and several missing. This has spiraled out of control. Even the most infirm are asking to be allowed to return home.
We cannot have the people lose faith in this institution. This hospital is their only hope.
Of course, you're right. But we cannot afford a public scandal. It would ruin us. We must restore order, and quickly.
You mentioned a dead patient. Who is he?
She, Jonathan. She was Miss Harriet Jones. I found her room like a slaughterhouse. Blood everywhere. The duty nurse is taking care of the mess.
Very well.
I'll help you.
Jonathan, please, I can't rely on anyone else. And this concerns you as it involves vampires. Someone has taken advantage of our more liberal tendencies here.
In what way?
Jonathan, I may turn my head when you or her ladyship indulge, but I will not allow this place to become a nest for street feeders.
Please then, tell me.
Sean Hampton, the man we thought we'd saved at the docks. It seems he was infected after all.
So Hampton became more beast than man.
Exactly. And now Guard of Prewen suspects the hospital of vampire activity. Do you realize what that could mean for us?
Well, they are not far wrong. The hospital is almost crawling with vampires.
McCullum is a fanatic. The Guard will stop at nothing. You don't know what they're capable of, Jonathan.
Very well. Since I brought Mr. Hampton here, I will put an end to this. Sean Hampton lives and breathes for the well-being of his flock. There's no other place he would go but the docks. I cannot enter.
Oh, Jonathan, I cannot believe my eyes. Poor woman, butchered by some savage scalp.
Everything dies. Or should.
Jonathan, how could you say such a thing?
Forgive me if I feel despondent. For there seems to be no end to the suffering and death that surrounds us.
I'm always here for you, Jonathan.
What do you know of Ascalon? I was threatened by a creature, a vampire in Whitechapel, stating I had to obey the law of conduct.
What more can you tell me about him?
He was bigger than a man. Huge, in fact. He seemed to radiate violence. I thought he was going to tear me apart. Then he vanished.
Fergal, the executioner of Ascalon. You were fortunate he was not after you, but rather out doing his master's bidding.
What is Ascalon?
The Ascalon Club are the most powerful vampires in Britain and exert tremendous influence. Take my advice and stay well away.
I have experienced a certain difficulty when faced with holy symbols or trying to enter religious buildings. Have you?
Now that's quite a question. I don't know why, but yes, it has happened to me.
Aren't you frightened?
Very little scares me, my dear. To be compelled to avoid symbols of faith does not concern me.
Is this a sign? A hand of God in action? Are we repellent unto heaven?
I don't have the answers, Jonathan. But I believe superstition and magic is just fact awaiting the lens of science.
Thank you, my lady. I hope to see you again soon.
It's safer.
Good evening, Milton.
Good evening, Doctor. Still trying to save lives?
What can you tell me about the recent commotion in the hospital?
Someone killed Miss Jones in her room, and Mr. Hampton's gone missing. Doesn't take a genius to piece it together.
You don't seem shocked by any of this.
Why should I be? Whoever did this must be long gone by now. And besides, he got rid of the old bag.
Pippa, my princess, flee away while you can, for all is lost.
I'm quite busy right now, Dr. Reed.
Tell me, Waverley, what do you think of Dr. Strickland's enthusiasm for his experimental research?
Strickland is playing with his patients' lives for pride and glory. Now that, sir, is unethical.
Are you thinking about something in particular?
Harvey Fiddick needs delicate surgery. I believe we should stick to the usual procedure, but my young colleague obviously disagrees.
Why do you wish to lead this surgery?
I strongly believe that Mr. Fiddick should not be butchered to test an unproven procedure.
Other people may say that's too conservative a point of view.
Conservative? And what are you going to say to Mr. Fiddick if he loses his arm because of the operation? Because that's what's going to happen if the surgery is a failure.
And are you not afraid that your rivalry with Strickland may be blinding you?
Rivalry? I guess you could call it that. But I will never be childish enough to let my personal feelings affect my judgment.
Why do you wish to lead this surgery?
I strongly believe that Mr. Fiddick should not be butchered to test an unproven procedure.
Other people may say that's too conservative a point of view.
Conservative? And what are you going to say to Mr. Fiddick if he loses his arm because of the operation? Because that's...
What can you tell me about the recent commotion in the hospital?
Nothing like this would have happened if we'd had enough staff and proper shifts.
So you don't think the blame is ours?
We all hold fast here, Dr. Reed. Our methods may differ, but we are all trying to make a difference.
Thank you for your time. We'll talk later.
You have the right to disapprove.
Good evening, Dr. Strickland.
And good evening to you, Dr. Reed. Can I be of any help?
Tell me, Thoreau, what's the real cause of your dislike for Dr. Ackroyd?
He refuses to admit that your blood transfusion technique is the only way to save Mr. Fiddick. I'm convinced we must use it.
What Dr. Ackroyd really said is that you lack the skill to perform this operation efficiently. Is there anything you have to say about this?
It's a false conceit. Dr. Ackroyd secretly envies your reputation. His jealousy blinds him. I'm not the real target here.
Can you tell me anything about the recent commotion in the hospital?
I'm sure it was not your fault, Dr. Reed.
My fault? What do you mean?
Oh, nothing. It's just... I heard it was you who brought the murderer inside our walls. But you couldn't know, could you?
I will not let you down, my boy.
Goodbye, Dr. Strickland. Good evening, Mr. Fiddick.
Good evening, Dr. Reed. Any news about my operation?
Please, tell me about the recent commotion in the hospital.
I heard Miss Jones call for help from her bedroom. There were some loud noises, like people fighting. All of a sudden, it went quiet. And then the nurse started screaming.
Do you know who the nurse was?
Not sure, but I think it was Nurse Hawkins.
Goodbye for now, Mr. Fiddick. I'll see you later.
You always knew the words to calm the children, Ellen. As for me, what a blundering idiot.
Good evening, Doctor. How is my son doing?
Goodbye, Mrs. Goswick. Good evening, Mr. Goswick. How are you?
I'm okay.
I have to go now, sir. But don't hesitate to contact me if you need any help.
Good evening, sir. Doctor.
Oh. down, my boy.
It seems the Priwen are redoubling their patrols in the district. I must be more careful.
Fear no evil! We do the Lord's work here!
In this letter, Mortimer Goswick does nothing to hide his desire to die. I could give it to his mother, but doing so would betray his trust. It's locked.
Evil! We do the Lord's work here! Look lively! It's on to us!
Good evening, Mr. Goswick. How are you?
I'm okay.
I have retrieved your letter, Mr. Goswick. I can assure you that nobody read it but me.
Thank you. This is for you, then. For your help. And for your silence.
I think you should talk to your mother. It would be good for both of you.
Thank you, Dr. Reed. I'll think about it. Now please, let me be.
But in the circumstances, I'm willing to give you the benefit of the doubt.
I've read your letter, Mortimer. You wrote about an unbearable feeling of despair while the world crumbles around you. Tell me more about it.
There's nothing more to say, really. It's hurtful, it's unbearable, and I don't ask anyone to understand what I feel.
Circumstances, I'm willing to give you the benefit of the doubt.
Despair is a deadly poison I've tasted myself, sir. We're only tempted to drink it because we're terrified by the uncertainty of the next minute.
I know that perfectly, Doctor. For I waited for so long, hoping that the next minute would be less unbearable.
I have to go now, sir. But don't hesitate to contact me if you need any help.
I'm all right. Don't waste your time with me.
This hospital seems to be falling apart. But in the circumstances, I'm willing to give you the benefit of the doubt.
What on earth happened here?
Best run along home, sir.
Opium is one of the main ingredients of Strickland's medication. Never a good move. Good evening, sir.
Who the fuck are you? Don't you see I'm busy here?
Dr. Jonathan Reed, that's who I am. And who are you?
Ah, some fancy gentleman we've got here. Clear off. We don't want strangers on our streets.
So you won't tell me your name, then?
The name is Booth Digby. Maybe I'll ask my boys to break one or two of your bones, just so you remember it.
I know you're looking for an honest job, Booth. You're tired of this criminal life, aren't you?
It's just an idea. Edwina loves to run things so much. You can never really leave the gang. Wet boys for life, you know.
Are you some kind...
Something like that, but the police aren't in charge here.
So?
What? Have you got a death wish? You really want me to answer that?
Well, yes. You seem so proud of your status. Why not tell me who you're working for?
Oi! I'm the boss, all right? The Wet Boot Boys work for me. All of them. Situation round here is better than other districts because of us. Because of me.
So you're a concerned criminal, is that it?
Using funny jokes about me and my boys, are you? Fuck. You must have some balls.
I saw many men like you during the war, Mr. Digby. Greedy little cockroaches who feed on despair.
I could kill you for saying that. But, nah. You've been a soldier. I can respect that.
What can you tell me about this part of town?
Things ain't that bad, thanks to us. We give people what they need, and we control this borough.
Well, you're not doing a very good job. People are still dying here like everywhere else.
Yeah, well, we can't be everywhere all the time. And Edwina says if we can find more guns, we could be more efficient.
More efficient? Really? You should probably tell Edwina that guns are useless against diseases and infections.
Incredible. You know what? You're lucky she can't hear you right now. She's more smart than patient. My sweet queen of the docks.
Do you know where I can find Sean Hampton? I need to talk to him.
The sad saint. Why on earth do you want to talk to him?
He was one of my patients at the Pembroke Hospital.
Oh, yeah. I heard the poor bastard had been abducted by some cunt. You better ask Tom Watts. He knows Sean Hampton well.
Goodbye, Mr. Digby. It's locked, all right.
For now, everything seems under control, more or less.
Don't forget to keep an eye out for this guard of something. My guess is that
In the meantime, the boys are waiting for our... My sweet queen.
I hope the rumours about Clay are true.
Good evening, miss. I am Dr. Reed. May I ask you a few questions?
Who are you? What do you want?
As I just told you, I'm a doctor. From the Pembroke Hospital, actually.
The Pembroke Hospital, you say? I don't have any money for you leeches.
I'm not here for charity, Miss...
Miss Edwina Cox. So what do you want then? Fancy buying something from me, maybe?
You still use your husband's name, Edwina. Why is that?
Why shouldn't I? He may be a bloody bastard, but I'm still his wife and his name means something round here.
Are you aware of what happened to him?
Yes. I'm sure he fought till the end and looked death in the eyes. The boys will mourn him. Except one of them, maybe.
What can you tell me about your work?
I'm a businesswoman. I buy and sell things, and I send my wet boot boys after anyone who don't play nice with me.
Gang member and shopkeeper. Can't be easy running double shifts.
If you're interested, I may find use of a doctor who can freely walk across the city, you know.
You're quite blunt, aren't you?
I like people who know what they want and say what they think. This is a time of great opportunity for those ready to embrace their destiny.
I'm not interested in a career in the criminal underworld, Miss Cox.
Fair enough. Stay away from us then, if you don't want to get hurt or worse.
Since my return from the war, I don't feel that concerned by threats, knives, or even bullets, if you must know.
That's exactly what that stupid trade unionist claimed after he attacked one of us. Booth and I reminded him a bullet beats words every time.
What can you tell me about this part of town?
You can't trust anyone around here. As soon as you lower your guard, you can be sure some arsehole will take advantage of you.
You sound like you're thinking of somebody in particular.
Take the gravediggers of Southwark. They must pay me every week, but it looks like they forgot who gave them permission to steal from the dead.
Looting corpses in a mass grave. That is a new low.
Whatever. Hey, since you're a doctor and all, maybe you can access that forbidden area and remind those bastards what they owe.
Really? Don't you think that's a little bit excessive?
Bastards, all of them. This region only responds to violence and threats.
Tell me about the man you and Booth killed, Edwina.
The bastard killed one of us and received retribution. There's nothing else to say.
What happened exactly?
I don't know and I don't care. One of ours was killed by that communist bastard, but he didn't brag for long.
So you have no idea what really happened, but you executed him anyway.
No one messes with the Wet Boot Boys, Doctor. This is our territory, and this is our law.
And your conscience is clear. You kill without hesitation.
Violence is an efficient tool, Dr. Reed, when used properly.
So you decide who lives and who dies, just like that.
Yes, Doctor. Just like that. I'm not saying it's fair. I'm saying it's my way of dealing with troublemakers.
Booth Digby looks at you with love-struck eyes. Tell me, Edwina, is the feeling mutual?
You have no idea how refreshing it can be for a woman to receive all the pleasure she needs. For once.
I'll take your word for it.
What is it, Doctor? A woman's not supposed to talk about these things.
I'm not that easily shocked, Miss Cox. You can speak freely about your lover if you so wish.
The poor bastard is good to me, if you must know. He makes me feel good. And that's a first.
So you're just like any other couple, after all, are you not?
Yeah, we're so ordinary that I'd put a bullet in his head if he ever cheated on me.
Can I see what you have to sell?
As long as you have money, I'll show you all I have.
Good evening, Miss Cox.
Hello again.
I'm looking for Mr. Sean...
The sad saint. I heard he was mugged or something.
Yes, he was. But he left hospital recently.
You don't say. Well, I suppose it's good news for the homeless and the useless. Ask them, they must know something.
Goodbye, Miss Cox.
You again. What do you want?
Tell me about the man you killed, Booth. What happened?
One of us had been killed, so we had to retaliate. That's the whole story.
There has to be more to it than that.
No, really. One of us got killed, so the killer had to die. That's how things have always been done round here. No one gives a shit.
Don't you see it's an endless spiral? One day, it will be you who will be stabbed, or shot, or worse.
That's what my sweet Edwina always says, that one day I'll get it too. But she says it with the most beautiful smile, my Edwina.
Do you know Edwina suspects you to be unfaithful?
Edwina's the one who asked to be called Mrs. Cox, even though Clay hadn't touched her for such a long time.
You have not answered my question.
She's a passionate woman. I've no doubt she'll shoot me down if I ever betray her, but that's not going to happen. I love her as she is.
Goodbye, Mr. Digby.
Been a while since we've seen any news.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening. Why must it always be a good evening?
I was just being polite. I'm Dr. Reed. I'd like to ask you some questions, if I may.
Don't like questions. Or doctors. And the name is Seymour Fishburne, if you must know.
What can you tell?
A shithole filled with...
Are you thinking about something?
No. Hate them all. Especially these petty, whining little shitbag beggars.
Is there no one who deserves your lead?
Well, Tom from our local is somewhat of a decent bloke. At least, unlike most maggots, he knows how to listen without opening his trap.
What's your...
I take care of my mum. That's what I do. She's the only good thing in my life. Even though I don't treat her so good.
You seem upset.
I lost the necklace I bought her. I'm a fucking idiot.
Sometimes
I just want her to smile.
Any chance you can help me find Sean Hampton?
The sad saint. Why would you talk to that cunt?
Actually, that's confidential.
Really? Well, go ask someone else then. I'm sure Tom Watts will gladly answer you.
Goodbye, Mr. Fishburne. Hello, boy.
Hello. Good evening.
Did I scare you? You have nothing to fear from me.
No, it's just that...
Well, I won't. I'm a doctor.
My name is Rufus, sir. Rufus Kingsbury.
What can you...
It's all about staying out of trouble. But since most people prefer to avoid me, it's pretty easy.
Why do people avoid you?
They call me Rufus the Curse. Around here, I'm a bit of a bad luck charm.
Have you ever thought about leaving?
Where else would I go? At least I know these streets and some people around here. This is my city, for better or worse.
What do you do around here, Rufus?
I listen to the news on the docks, sir. And I smile at those kind enough to spare me a bob.
Do you have a job?
It's hard to work, what with my head and all. Since I was a boy, I've always had trouble remembering what I do and why I do it.
What do people say about this place?
Things have been tense between the Wet Boot Boys and the Communists. They both feel they should run the docks.
Are you alone? Where is your family?
I don't have any. My parents are dead.
So you have no home? You're sleeping rough?
No. I mean, yes. I live on the streets. I have no home.
This city has abandoned so many of its children. It's tragic.
Well, I've known worse. I'm not all alone. I have Mrs. Fishburne. She's been very kind to me.
Why do you think she's so considerate?
I can't say, sir. I guess she's a good soul. Sometimes it's like she replaces the mother I lost, even if we're not related.
Do you know a man who lives in this part of town? A man named Sean Hampton. I'm looking for him.
Sorry, sir. I don't know a lot of folks around here. Most prefer to avoid me.
Well, I don't think you should talk to him. He may be very sick.
Thanks for the tip. You might want to check the Turquoise Turtle. It's a pub not far from here. The barkeep knows everyone in these parts.
So long, Rufus. Be careful. Take care. Good evening, madam. I'm Dr. Reed. Could I come in?
Why? What do you want?
I work at the Pembroke Hospital. I'm investigating the flu epidemic in this area.
Oh, the Spanish flu. Well, that's quite liberal of you, Doctor. But this is no time to be knocking at people's doors.
The disease takes away the good people too, madam. Why not let me in?
It's Mrs. Fishburne. Stella Fishburne. And yes, indeed. Why not let a doctor in? Does grow eyes in the back of that head, sir. Gentlemen are easy
It's
targets
locked,
in
all
these
right.
parts. I can't remember the last time I had a good sleep. I've been nothing but worry. I'm not sure the epidemic is what worries people most these days.
It's locked.
So you have questions about the flu, then?
Yes, among other things.
Forgive my rudeness at the door. It's just my son doesn't like strangers coming in the house.
How is life?
Life has always been hard.
Do you think the increase...
Don't know, but it's most likely linked to
violence
and self...
May I ask what you...
Since my husband died,
Did your husband die in the war?
Oh no. My Jack was a docker.
How do you pay the rent, then?
My Seymour works at the docks, just like his dad.
The orphan that regards you as a mother. Please tell me about him, Stella.
You mean Rufus? I wish I could do even more for the poor boy. Most people are so selfish.
But you're not.
Years may have passed, but I haven't forgotten how it feels to go through days with nothing but an empty stomach.
I'm trying to locate Mr. Sean.
You talking about the one everyone calls the sad sack?
The very same, Miss...
I'm sorry. I don't know where his shelter is.
Goodbye, Miss Fishburne. Take care of yourself.
I can't remember the last time I had a good sleep. I've been nothing but worry.
Some call this the bad part of town. I've looked at worse.
Mark my words, miss. These murders are the work of a vampire.
A vampire? Whatever do you mean?
I'm a tracker of these creatures. A vampire hunter.
You best be off to your hunting then. For if the sewer dog is back and hunting all these poor folk, he needs to catch
Shut the turquoise
Sewer dog.
Good evening, Tom.
Good evening, sir. How are you tonight? Back to the docks, are we?
You remember me, then?
Of course I do. You're that man who seems so...
Thank you for your hospitality.
I'm still Tom Watts.
Claws, murders by night. Your sewer dog is my business. He's the kind of prey I hunt, milady.
How is it?
Well,
Since... How could a... Doctors...
Off.
I see. What can... Who? Tom, I need to...
I heard the sad saint was recovered.
I believe he returned...
I bet you're right. Sean,
please, tell me.
Well, I don't like to gossip, but I heard that
the import...
why not try...
Where is it? Goodbye, Mr.
I should have offered a drink to the boy. Be he cursed or...
Poor Jack. He did...